Okay, so I have this helper here whereby I can run different versions of the .NET SDK inside of a container. And I can take a look at a command and I could look at its help output. And then I could split the screen here. And over on the right-hand side, instead of version 8, I could run this for version 7. And then if I scroll up here, I can start to compare the two different versions to see what's different. And if I want to kick it up a notch, I could run a diff of the output of each of these commands and compare things automatically. So to do this, I'll do a diff here of version 7 to version 8. Got a little helper to do that. And for each version, I want to run the new command to get the help output. So now when I run that, on the left-hand side, I'll have version 7, and on the right-hand side, I'll have version 8. And because I'm using a diff utility, it's highlighting the differences. In this case, you can see the only change is the addition of a details subcommand. So in version 8, there's a new .NET new and then details, or at least in terms of the documentation of the help output that was added in. And so this is a nice way to learn about the changes between different versions of the .NET SDK. For example, I could change 7.0 and set 5.0 and compare that to 8. All right, there are the differences, and this time it's rather drastic, but I could still compare this and find a difference. For example, on the left, you can see a -- search, and now that is actually just search. So instead of using -- search as a subcommand, you now just use the search subcommand. And that happens some point in time between versions 5 and version 8. And of course, I could run this for a different command. For example, I could just get the top level help. And when that's done, I get back a list of the differences in the SDK commands. So these are the subcommands right under the .NET command. And so between versions 5 and 8, format, SDK, and workload, those are all subcommands that were added. And so I could dive into those new commands, or I might want to look at the differences between other commands. For example, just like with the new command, I could compare the add command, or the build command, or clean, etc.